Installing penny tile in a bathroom. All right, so here's the bathroom. I'm going to put the penny tile on this floor. It's a really small bathroom. So I had one big giant piece of linoleum. It was probably like 40 years old. So then I had this plastic piece glued to the bottom part. So I took a regular hair dryer and I just heated up the glue. And then I used a chisel and chiseled it off. But you could use a heat gun. That would work better. You want to get all this off. I'm just keeping this old tile. And I'm using just regular dish soap. Putting it in a spray bottle of water. So you just want to squirt that, let it sit for a few minutes, and then scrape it off. This seemed to work best. It was just like a blade. Now here's an example of how to find the area of your room. You measure your whole room out and divide it into 3 parts. So you want to go 6 times 2 is 12. This one you want to do 4 plus 3, which is 7. 7 times 2 is 14. 3 times 2 is 6. Then you add these 3 numbers up. So it's 32 square feet. Makes it easy when you're measuring out how much tile. So then I'm using the Hardyback board. This is a cement board made of 90% Portland cement and sand. This product can expose you to chemicals including crystalline silica, which you do not want in your lungs. And here I'm using, it's a drywall saw or a jab saw. And what I do to keep the dust down is I spray it with water. And then it makes it soft, and then you can bend it and break it off easily without any dust. So this is what's going to go down underneath the tile. Then you need to buy these cement board screws. And it comes with its own bit. It's like a star shaped. So what I did was I would spray down each section, and I'm going to pre-drill the holes. But this is where you would screw in, right where the little circles are. They have a nice grid on it that makes it easy to measure. Then you drill in the screws. And here's little pieces that are around the toilet. You have to cover everything up with this Hardyback board. Just wet it and score. But then for these little pieces, you want to just screw it in right in the middle. Now this happens if you go too close to the edge. And then I made sure you want to vacuum all this stuff up. It's all silica clumps. You don't want to be breathing that. So I'm using the 3/4 inch penny round mosaic, and it's porcelain, which is good for heavy traffic areas, highly water resistant, and it's ideal for bathrooms, kitchens, hallways, and outdoor spaces. So what I did was I laid it all out so I could see what needs to be cut and trimmed off. For the edges, I'm just going right up to the edge. Now for here, I was going to cut the half moon pieces. I did cut them, and I will show you later, but I didn't put them in. So there's mesh underneath it. It's all held by mesh. So all you do is you take a razor blade and you just cut in between each tile. Now this is Schluter Dietra. You can get this at Lowe's. It's a German company that was started in 1975. So this is the doorway transition. It's a nice polished look for ending your tile right underneath the door. This is where this would go. But I made a mistake. You're supposed to put it on top of the hardy backboard. I put it in front of it. Now for around the water pipe, I just kind of cut a little circle. Now you could stick little half moons in here, but I didn't. It'll just fill up with grout. Now here's how you would cut the penny tile. You want to get a pair of tile cutters. So dry cutting any tiles can expose you to inhaling the harmful silica dust and a risk of acute lung injury. Right here, I slowed it down so you could see all the dust. I was first doing it that way, then I realized, no, just cut them directly into water, and then you have no dust floating in the air. Now this is Mape. It's an Italian company that was founded in Milan in 1937. I really like their mortar and grout. The back of the bag explains how you do it. So mortar is a mixture of lime with cement, sand, and water. You want to use a standard polymer modified thin set, Ultraflex 1 or Mape porcelain tile mortar. So I used a 5-gallon bucket. And you want to wear a mask, and you need one of these tools connected to your drill. So you want to pour the water in first, and then start pouring in the powder. This is why you want a mask. It's dusty. Sometimes I would spray it with water to keep the dust down. So then you're going to just use your drill and mix it up, depending on how much you're going to use at one time. You want it like a whipped peanut butter consistency. And then when you're done, make sure you have a bucket with water in it to clean the piece here. You don't want this to harden. So just peel back the sections of tile that you're going to put down. And then you want to squirt it down with water or sponge it with water, but you want the hardy backboard damp so it'll adhere to the mortar. Now here's the trowel size. I used 1/8 inch by 1/8 inch by 1/8 inch for the penny tile. They're really tiny. So you put down, make sure to wear gloves. You put down the mortar. You can use the trowel, the flat edge of the trowel, or I'm just using a spatula knife. And this mortar might be a little too thin. You want it a little thicker. But you just spread it around. And squirt the area that you're going to put more down. And then you're going to trowel it. It's called combing. You want to comb the mortar in straight lines. This ensures full coverage and a strong bond with the tile. And then you want to move the tile a little back and forth to collapse the lines and to remove any air pockets. So I started using my hands with gloves, of course. Sometimes your hands are the best tools. So you just spread the mortar out. And then make sure your angle is the same each time that you're combing this. Then lay the tile down and kind of flatten it out. Make sure the edges fit perfectly like a puzzle. And push down on the whole thing. Make sure to spray the hardy backboard. Now right there was where I made a mistake. That transition metal piece, Schluter Dietra, that should have been right on top of the hardy backboard. Again, so that little transition metal piece, it should have gone on top of the hardy backboard. Don't make the mistake that I did. Yeah, you can see how it drops down right there. I thought that the mortar would build up and I'd be able to level it, but it didn't work out. So sometimes the little pieces will fall out. You just put them right back in. And then here's the piece. See, it kind of goes down a little bit. All right, so you want to let that dry overnight before you work on it. So this is the next day. So you want to wet it down, and you're going to get up as much of the mortar as you can because you want to have it clean and ready for the grout. So the key is to just keep wetting it, and then it all comes up. And then you want 2 5-gallon buckets, one with clean water, and then one, here's the clean water. And then you squeeze it out into the dirty water side. Now this I'm using, it's a linoleum knife with a curved blade. This worked excellent because it gets soft once you spray it with water, and you want to get as much of the excess mortar out. And then go around the tiles if there's too much, because that's where you want the grout to be. So I'm using Frost. It's the Mapei Flex color. This is already pre-mixed, which is nice. And this is the grout, which is made out of cement, sand, and water, also with color pigments and epoxy resins. So you want to use a grout fluter, and you're going to smooth out and put all the grout into all the little cracks and spaces around each tile. I started using my hands, gloved hands. Now, if you don't use gloves, this stuff will dry your hands out really bad. I've had it happen. Now, this is the next day. Now, after it's fully dried, you're going to take a sponge and a bucket of water, and you're going to clean up the excess grout that's dried on top. Just keep wetting it, and the grout will come off. So you want to get all that off. All right, now here's where I used a blade to get around each piece. Just a few pieces had this. And then up against the sides where it met the tile on the side of the walls. You want to clean that up. Just take a blade or that jab saw and spray it too. It softens it. All right, here's that part that I made the mistake in. The tiles kind of go down. Okay, here's the finished look. Now I caulked around the toilet and then painted it white. My clothes had mortar and grout in them, so what I did was I soaked them in clean water in the 5-gallon bucket and then took a brush and brushed off the pieces. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe.